Okay, so I got another video here on the Tyro99, and this time with some GoPro footage. And I know I had a lot of comments saying this thing won't carry a GoPro. It does carry a GoPro, as you can see here. I printed a little 3D printed mount that screws in where that little carbon plate went. It's okay. I think that on 4S with these low kV motors, it's a little underpowered carrying that extra weight. So with the mount and the GoPro, it's about another almost 100 grams extra weight. So I'm not going to be doing any more GoPro footage on this because I just think that it just drags it down too much. So you're not going to be seeing any more GoPro footage after this video. I just wanted to show you that it is possible if you want to do that. I think that if you do want to carry a GoPro, you are going to have to fly this on 5S. The other thing I switched out was got rid of the bi-blade props. I think this would do better on 5S as well. It's kind of a heavy bi-blade prop. I went to these really light Dal Cyclone tri-bladed props. These are 50-51s. On this KV on 4S, this motor is kind of unresponsive. It's a little bit sluggish in terms of throttle resolution and responding to throttle input. So I switched this lighter prop and it helped a little bit. Of course, I'm carrying around this extra weight, so after I get rid of this extra weight, I think it'll fly better, even with these lighter props on 4S. And my goal is to try and fly this on 4S in the long run, because I think it's going to be better for beginners. It does keep things a little bit slower, so that's going to try and keep all these videos around 4S. And I don't have any 5S batteries anyway, so you're never going to see a 5S video on this for me. So if you're looking for that, sorry, I don't have any 5S batteries. I'm not going to be acquiring any. I'm going to be focusing on 4S for this particular build. So I do have an initial tune for this. Obviously it came with Betaflight 3.5 with just the default, nothing special. I think in the first video you saw I only turned air mode on, and you know, there was some things that you couldn't see through this camera because it just didn't show up. It started showing up in the GoPro footage, some of the oscillations at like high throttle. You'll see that a little bit. I didn't really do much tuning. What I did was I just kind of took the default 3.5 tune, and then I added a couple of changes based on some of the tuning tips for Betaflight 3.4 and 3.5. It's kind of complicated to explain. I just kind of like said, oh, this is probably I would say like not a super clean build. This is using some kind of lower end components. You're gonna have more motor noise, that kind of stuff. So I kind of went with that route, and I put in some settings I thought might work for this. And so I will just give you a diff that you can put into your CLI down in the description. You can put those settings in if you want. If you are looking for like a tuning guide in this, where I kind of go through the actual Betaflight configurator and talk about all the little settings that I changed, let me know in the comments below if that's something you're interested in. I could do something a little bit more in depth if there's a lot of people that want that, or you can just copy my settings and give those a try. Now, I didn't, beyond the basic tuning guideline that was given by Betaflight, I didn't really do a whole lot with this. So you'll see that it's not a perfect tune, but even carrying this extra weight on 4S, it did seem to fly better than the first video that I put out. The other thing that I wanted to note is that even though I was really harsh on this camera, and yeah, I still think it's a poor quality camera, I have gotten kind of used to it a little bit, and my flying has gotten a little bit better with the narrower field of view. So that's something to be noted, that it's not something that is completely debilitating and you can't fly at all. I've actually gotten a little bit used to it and adjusted my flying to the poor quality of the camera. However, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and switch this out for the next video. Probably going to put in a micro Foxy or micro arrow, and that'll probably fit in pretty good, and then that way I don't need to put any camera protection here, because this current camera sticks out. Now you could, if you want to stick with this current camera, you could put a 3D printed part here that you could print a TPU that will give it a little more protection, and I think I put links to that in the previous video. I'll also include these if you want the little bumper for the camera if you want to keep the current camera. But I'm going to go with a micro camera. It's going to sit back further, and then I won't need to print that extra part out once I switch this camera. I think that'll make a really big difference in this build if you spend the extra 20 bucks to switch the camera out. The only other thing that I want to note is that after about, I think I've put about 10-12 flights on this, all the motors initially were very smooth, and just I don't know if you'll be able to hear this on camera. Let me spin this front motor. It's pretty quiet. This one's even quieter. fronts are okay, and they all sounded like that at the beginning, but after about 10-12 packs, these back ones are getting a little noisy. You can hear that. So I think these are poor quality bearings. This one isn't as quite as bad. This one here is the noisiest right here. Their motors aren't hot at all, so because it is kind of low kV and it's only running for us. So even with the basically non-tuned PIDs, the motors aren't even getting warm. I mean, they're ice cold. So I think that the bearings on this are just kind of low quality, not high quality bearings. Of course, for the price, you can't really complain too much. But in terms of affecting the motor working or not, it doesn't seem to be having an effect on it. But I just wanted to point that out for you guys that are keeping track of the videos, that I'm going to give you the overall progress of how all the parts are doing and stuff. So far, everything else is holding up fine. Video transmitter is fine. Although I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably switch this antenna out for something a little bit better, because these good antennas have a null point in the top here, so I get a lot of breakups when I go a little further away, and this, when I do flips and stuff, this I get basically I almost lose video. So I'm probably going to put Fox here or Lollipop on here instead. So it's not absolutely required, because you still get pretty decent video, but this is something just for me. I'm going to probably switch this, probably switch out the antenna and the SMA adapter and just plug in an MMCX connector here directly, and then some sort of a zip tie back here. But you'll see that in the next video. Anyway, just wanted to show you the flight footage, and yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll have more videos and keep you up to date on the progress of this build.